Hey there, YouTubers. On this episode of Budget Barista, we're going to talk about deep cleaning and tweaking this Graef CM 702 grinder. In its current state, it's open beyond what the manual actually allows for, but that does allow you to deep clean it more thoroughly. However, when putting it back together, I encountered a problem, but I'm going to talk about the solution as well. So, the manual actually tells you to open it up to, say, this point. Then you're supposed to brush the inside here and brush the coffee outlet there, but that will actually still leave a lot of ground and oily fatty coffee here, influencing the taste of your next batch, and also here, which kind of could damage the mechanism over time, I feared. So, since this top part was fixed only with 4 Phillips crossheads, and I'm curious by nature, popped it off and was able to deep clean this. However, that gave me a problem reinstalling it, but we'll touch on that subject in a bit. So putting it back together, next thing you would do is reinstall these 2 washers. Ball bearings and the rest of the coffee grinder. The coffee grinder itself will rest on there and on spacers, which is where the tweaking will take place. Careful, on the bottom side is another washer on which the ball bearings will rest. I took this off carelessly the first time and this washer fell off somewhere and I had to go and retrieve it. There we go. Okay, next will be the locking button for the collar. This collar lines up at a few places. It will line up with the spout for the coffee coming out, both with the collar itself, also on the bottom side. That will line up perfectly with these 2 lines here. And while doing that, you have a small indent right there at the pinky that will align with this little notch right there. So next, the locking button that will lock this into place, protruding from this hole. 2 springs. You have 2 ramps right there that will slide right into this opening here. There. Locked into place. Now the problem was getting that button to protrude from there while aligning everything, and also, biggest problem, reinstalling this circuit breaker. Let me show you from the other side. Yes, there's a small box there that had a push button, and I guess its purpose was to prevent closed circuit when not everything was properly installed and weighing on that button. So probably to prevent the mechanism from activating while the machine was opened up, which is kind of redundant because it will not activate if you do not push the grind button and if you just simply keep it unplugged. The biggest problem with reinstallment was that little box needed to go perfectly into this slot right there, while at the same time making sure that this push button protrudes from this hole while lining up everything. Well, I can tell you it was impossible. So I even considered sawing a hole in there and then using pliers to guide this into place while at the same time guiding everything else into place. But before that, I opened up the circuit box and found out that the mechanism is quite simple. It's just a bendable piece of, I guess, aluminum that gets pushed down and then closes the circuit by connecting 2 contact points. What I did is I removed the button and put some aluminium foil in between the open contact, creating the possibility of having full closed circuit at all times. Then I didn't need to properly align this and put it into that hole right there in order for it to be pushed down. I could just install it any way I wanted to. So I just push it down, as I will, and then reinstall everything, making sure only the push button protrudes from the ring and all the holes align. So next up, we're gonna see how that looks, and we're gonna tweak the grinder to more finesse.